What's up, everybody? Krim here. Welcome to my anime corner. And I have finally watched an entire anime all the way through. And I want to talk to you guys about that tonight. So, Re:Zero. Re:Zero is an anime that came out a little bit ago. And I'm probably one of the few people who have not seen it until right now. With tons and tons of harassment from my friend James, he is telling me that I needed to see this anime. And I told him that, well, James, I have seen this anime. I saw 2 episodes worth of it, and I didn't like it. So I didn't finish it. I didn't want to wait week after week because I didn't like the protagonist, even though I know that protagonists can change and evolve in a story and get better. I was like, no. And he's like, look, it's not even about this guy. It's about this chick named Rem, this blue-haired chick. You've seen her probably on a lot of stuff. Which I have. I've seen a lot of cosplay. I've seen a lot of fan art. I've seen a lot of people talk about this Rem character. So he was like, if you watch it at all, at least watch through her parts and do it for her. And the story is actually really good, so give it a shot. So I did, and I liked it. It was pretty good. I wasn't as impressed with it the first time I saw it. I saw the first 2 episodes and was like, the main character is kind of a whiny bitch. I'm not sure if I'm gonna like watching a whole series with this guy. Maybe not. But I pushed through it, and by the time I hit the 3rd to 4th episode, I started to see what more of the main story was going to be like. And then I got hooked, and I literally watched probably 19 episodes in a single day. So that'll tell you right now that the storyline for this is very, very good. I still do not like the main character though. So here's what I will say. For an anime that has a very, very good story and other characters that are very, very well made, well crafted, have good story arcs, I like some of them. Some of them I wish we spent more time with, because there are characters that the main character Subaru meets that kind of like are a means to an end, and you get a little bit of their stories, but basically it's kind of like what's happening here and now in the present, if that makes sense. So there's a lot of characters here that I hear that there is a 2nd season coming out. I hope that this expands the world a lot more and we get to see more into it. But basically, let me give you the rundown of the premise of the show, okay? Basically, Subaru lives in like modern day Tokyo, and something happens. He gets transported to a fantasy world, and in that fantasy world, he finds out that he can basically die and come back to a certain point in time in said fantasy world. So basically, it's like a really messed up Groundhog's Day, or as I like to call this series, Re:Zero and a series of unfortunate Mondays. Basically, this happens a lot to Subaru, and he meets a half-elven, silver-haired, beautiful girl who is looking for an insignia, who has a little spirit cat thing that hangs out with her, and it's really cool, very neat concept. The show definitely has its violent moments, it has its comedy, and it has its drama. It's all kind of neatly wrapped together in one nice package. And I have to say that the characters right off the bat, not that bad. The premise is pretty cool, except the main character is god awful. I still gave it a shot because I wanted to see where this Rem character, where she played into this. I wanted to see how the story would evolve from its simple, oh well, some street bandits stabbed me in an alley and now I gotta restart that day. Like, you know, at first it doesn't seem like the stakes are super high. I mean, yeah, of course he's dying a lot, but you know, nothing was ever very big. Nothing was ever high stakes at the beginning. But it's a slow build. You have to let it get there. And once it gets there with the story, it's really, really good, to the point where sometimes I was forgetting that he could probably die and a reset could probably happen. And that leads to a lot of interesting, I wouldn't call them dead. Well, I guess they're pretty well dead ends, though. If you think about it, when he does something and dies, he has to go back to a certain point in time, right? So essentially there's a lot of interesting dead ends in this show, where something really crazy will happen, but then you remember that once something like this happens and a shocking moment happens, you go, oh, he'll just reset. But then you start getting to the point where how far back is it going to reset him? Because sometimes it's a day, sometimes it's a couple of days, sometimes, yeah, it kind of varies in a way. And they slowly explain that, like how he's getting this and why he fits in. I thought it was very interesting that throughout the whole show, he just basically forgets about the fact that he is from our world, from Earth, and he just completely envelops this fantasy world and just takes it in. And I'm surprised that didn't play more of a factor in his sanity of basically being stuck in this world and this endless cycle of respawning, essentially. But there's also an interesting twist that he can't talk about it either. So that might have something to play into it, as well as when someone asks them, well, how do you know these things? And how have you seen this at a certain point? And he can't say it because every time he tries to say what happens when he dies, this like spirit comes up and grips its dark claws around his heart and stops him from saying it. And so basically people get frustrated with him a lot because he basically can't tell the truth of what happens to him. So it's very interesting. It's very, very interesting. And I want to get into some other topics about this, but that would really breach into spoiler territory. And normally I'm pretty good at not going into spoilers on my channel. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and give you my score now. I'll give you my verdict now because there's a couple of things I want to say about this anime before I wrap up the video. So, well, hang on for giving the final score, because let's talk about all the aspects, right? Without giving away anything, okay? The plot is very good. Does the story get better? Yes. If you're watching this anime or if you've seen stuff on it and you're wondering, does ReZero get better? Yes, it does. The story, by the end of it, I was very, very hooked, very, very intrigued, and I wanted to see where it goes next. I'm actually very, very much so looking forward to season 2. I think that the music is very well done. I wish that there was more, because there was definitely like 2 or 3 main pieces of music they used throughout the entire show, but they didn't really alter very much. Like how Death Note uses a lot of the same music, but it kind of changes them here and there. It kind of evolves them as it progresses the tracks as they go along. This one, it kind of uses the same tracks over and over again. Like that's one you're gonna hear a lot. It's wild because a lot of the music will go in hand with something that's happening, either a respawn or a dramatic moment or a very dark and twisted moment or a happy moment. There are happy moments. If you're wondering if there's happy moments, there are happy moments in this show. So I would say that the story is very well done. The music is very well done. I'd have to give the story it's good. And I'd have to give the music that it's good too, but it could have been better. I'm not an anime purist when it comes to sub or dub. I'll watch either or. I preferred this one in the Japanese dub. The English dub, I was already annoyed with the main character, with Subaru anyway. So hearing him in the Japanese was a little bit better for me. I couldn't stand him when I heard the English dub. The first time I watched this, I watched the 2 English dub episodes, and I could not stand him at all. And his voice annoyed me, and his character annoyed me. And I think watching it in the Japanese helped me be okay with that and push myself along. So, but all the other characters voiced, of course, most anime, in my opinion, it sounds really awesome in the original Japanese dub. Because, I mean, come on, you're telling me that fights and drama sequences are not more intense or are less intense in a Japanese dub? No, fam. Like, English dubs can be great and they can be very well done, But sometimes those original Japanese voice actors and actresses, they pull out such emotion in their stuff, and it really shines here. So I watched it in the Japanese dub, and I suggest you do that as well. I saw that on Crunchyroll. And how's the pacing of this? How did the episodes go? Was there much filler? Was there a lot of lull or dull moments? No, not really at all. This show just basically kind of starts and just keeps on going. And I can say that because most shows, once I get about 5 to 8 episodes in, I'm ready to take a break. This show I watched 19 episodes straight. So if that tells you anything about the pacing, I was excited to keep going with it, to where I had to take a break at some point from watching it. So I say that the pacing is very well done. It hooks you in once you get past, if you're not hooked by the 4th episode, you might not get hooked, maybe. But for me, by the 3rd or 4th episode, I wanted to know where it was going to go. And then after that, it was just on board from there. I didn't want to stop it. So with all that being said, you've basically heard me talk about how the show is basically good. I'm not sitting here high praising it like it's the most excellent thing ever. But it's also not average by any means, or bad, if that makes sense. So now I will give you my final verdict on ReZero, and that is a 7 out of 10. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 because it's not something I would run and say, like, you need to watch this show right now, like my friend James did. But it's good. It's very good. And I will say that one of my favorite characters is Rem. And this is where I want to kind of get into spoilers, but now that I'm thinking about it in my brain, I think I can do this without spoiling things. Basically, Subaru's dumb. Subaru's character is so dumb, okay? That's what prevents me from giving this an 8 or a 9 even out of 10. Is one aspect, 2 aspects. The second one I'm not going to go into full detail because it will be spoiler filled. Okay, but it mainly has to do with Subaru and the way he acts and responds to one character in this anime. And if you've seen ReZero and you're just watching this to see what my thoughts were about this, then you probably know which scene I'm talking about. And Rem is probably one of the best waifus, if that's the term you want to use. Probably one of the best waifus in recent anime history. By far. I was very impressed by her character. Basically, for me, I was going to Amelia who? Amelia is the silver-haired half-elf girl that Subaru is head over heels for, and is kind of the main person that he's helping the whole time in the show. But Rem, by far, is probably the best waifu I've seen in a long time in anime. And there's an interaction that she has, and Subaru is stupid. Outside of that, I loved all of the characters. I thought the story was very compelling. It made me watch 19 episodes in one night. I finished it up just the other day, and I had to get my thoughts out on it. I had to talk about it. So basically, it's a 7 out of 10, and I really hope that season 2 is even better than season 1, or at least the same. I hope that season 2 is at least the same and keeps the momentum that season 1 had. Because I'm curious now. I'm curious to see where it goes. And yeah, so this has been my anime corner. I hope you've enjoyed. I'm glad I was able to actually keep that primarily spoiler free. Might go into a spoiler filled rant later about it. I don't know. But I just wanted to give my opinions on it and let you guys know. If you have not seen ReZero, I suggest watching it. I think it's pretty good. And if you don't like the main character like I did, push through for the main story and the other characters in the show. He doesn't really evolve as a character later on. He kind of stays stupid throughout the show, but that's my only downfall for it. That's the only downfall for the show. If that's a big aspect for you, then you may not like it. But outside of that, the story was really good. There was a lot of really dark moments in it, a lot of funny moments, a lot of drama, and Rem is waifu. Rem is life. Fuck Subaru. Anyway, Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you very much. I'll come at you again with another anime review in my anime corner when I get done watching one, which will probably be soon because I'm going to be doing better about this. I've been slacking on my anime watching, and right now I'm watching Demon Slayer. Figured might as well get caught up on something new, watch something new. Why not? I've got such a big backlog. I'm gonna go forward with Demon Slayer next, so that might be what I'm talking to you about next time. So anyway, appreciate you guys very much. If you want to tweet at me, contact me. Links are in the description down below via my link tree. You can hit me up on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, or join my Discord and talk to me about anime and manga there. Or video games. I talk about a lot of nerdy shit. So anyway, appreciate you guys very much. Hope you have a good rest of your weekend, and I'll speak at you again soon. Peace.